Oh, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and children of all ages, and names and circumstances, and whatever else I don't know. I got to do a better intro. Good morning, Afghanistan. All right, I made it back in time. I'm going to cover the Joe Biden and Pigg Vomit. Both have pressers today, so let's see if we can get them both covered. Yeah, there we go. There's Pigg Vomits. This is Biden's. And I've got to get everything turned off. I've got way too many things going beeps and bops and boops. And it's just another typical day. So, with that said, how's your day? I hope you're doing well. Let's see here. I need to get this. I wish I could send out from a live stream to Twitter. And I can't. Does that make sense? Why can't I find... Well, that's just not going to work, is it? Oh, the behind the scenes of stupidity that we all go through. Let me see, where's my... I've got to get some earphones. These things are... Last night I did a stream with a buddy of mine, and these things are... they kill my ears. So let's see here. Let's go. What happens if I do this? There you go. Twitter. Bam. Let's see here. I'm putting my tweet right now. All right. Now, let's go back to... And I'm going to turn you off because you're playing audio, which is not good. Let's see here. How does this work? All right. Tabs contents being shared. Right, go right here. That's here's what we're gonna do. Save me. So, have you heard that the administration abandoned our service dogs? Isn't that nice? So, if you've ever had a chance to be around a canine unit with police or with military, you understand how much these dogs mean to them, how much they mean to everyone, and it's just it's a shameful thought that they were abandoned and left in this third world. Well, you know. And they are abusive to animals over there like you wouldn't believe. I heard something, right? Either that or I'm hearing voices in my head again. Forgive me, I got a full Dr. Pepper. I've got a pack of Ritz crackers. I'm not going to say it. Let's see here. Cool. I could share. You know, let's see. You know, if nothing else, it seems like if it's loud enough, it should count for something. I love this. Oh, wait, you guys can't hear it because I don't have it on. Would this count for anything?
Do not come.
Sound familiar?
Do not come.
I'm going to come.
I love it. Oh, I love that so much. I love Ethan Van Sciver's the best. We don't have Biden yet. Come on. Well, I was watching Post say live now.
1,000 people evacuated.
Oh, geez. Watching Post has him live.
More than double what most experts saw.
Ah. Oh, wait. Turn it off. There you go.
Last night in Kabul,
Here he comes.
the United States ended 20 years of war in Afghanistan.
Did
The
they?
longest war in American history. We completed one of the biggest airlifts in history with more than 120,000 people evacuated to safety. That number is more than double what most experts thought were possible. No nation has ever done anything like it in all of history.
We all knew he was going to say this.
Only the United States had the capacity and the will and the ability to do it, and we did it today.
Yeah, right. We all knew he was going to say
Extraordinary
it.
success
How are the dogs?
was due to the incredible skill, bravery, and selfless courage of the United States military and our diplomats and intelligence professionals. For weeks, they risked their lives to get American citizens, Afghans who helped us, citizens of our allies and partners and others on board planes and out of the country. And they did it facing a crush of enormous crowds.
Sounds like a campaign commercial.
And they did it knowing ISIS-K terrorists, sworn
ISIS-K, what a joke.
were lurking in the midst of those crowds. And still, the women and men of the United States military, our diplomatic corps, and intelligence professionals did their job and did it well.
Sure.
Risking their lives, not for professional gains, but to serve others. Not in a mission of war, but in a mission of mercy.
Yeah.
20 service members were
It was
wounded in
mercy.
service of this mission. 13 heroes gave their lives.
Unnecessarily.
Just at Dover Air Force Base for the dignified transfer.
Yeah, what time is it over
We
there?
owe them and their families a debt of gratitude we can never repay, but we should never, ever forget.
Listen
In
to
April,
him. Man, they got him fired
I
up.
made the decision to end this war. As part of that decision, we set the date of
He
August
made the
31st
decision.
for American
He
troops
made
to
it.
withdraw.
That's a lie.
The assumption was that more than 300,000 Afghan national security forces that we had trained over the past 2 decades and equipped would be a strong adversary in their civil wars with the Taliban. That assumption that the Afghan government would be able to hold on
She's going to blame
for a
Trump.
time beyond military drawdown turned out not to be accurate.
She's going to blame Trump.
But I still instructed our national security team to prepare for every eventuality, even that one. And that's what we did.
No, you didn't.
So we were
No,
ready
you didn't.
when the Afghan security forces, after 2 decades of fighting for their country,
Gave up in 2 days.
thousands of their own, did not hold on as long as anyone expected.
Yeah, that's in 2
We were
days.
ready when they, the people of Afghanistan, watched their own government collapse and the president flee amid the corruption and malfeasance, handing over the country to their enemy, the Taliban, and significantly increasing the risk to U.S. personnel and our allies. As a result, to safely extract American citizens before August 31st, as well as embassy personnel, allies and partners, and those Afghans who had worked with us and fought alongside
Those
us for
Afghans.
20 years, I had
That sounds
authorized
racist.
6,000 troops, American troops, to Kabul to help secure the airport. As General McKenzie said, this is the way the mission was designed. It was
designed to fail.
under severe stress and attack, and that's what it did. Since March, we reached out 19 times to Americans in Afghanistan.
Look at this interpreter here.
Multiple warnings and offers to help them leave Afghanistan, all the way back as far as March.
I swear, you can do your own
After we
voice.
started the evacuation,
I was looking at my
14
watch.
days ago,
I had a dog
we did
paddle.
initial outreach and analysis
I'm gonna kill myself.
and identified around 5,000 Americans who had decided earlier to stay in Afghanistan, but now wanted to leave. Our Operation Allied Rescue ended up getting more than 5,500
Of course they wanna leave.
Americans out. We got out thousands of citizens and diplomats
Oh gosh,
from
give me
those
a.
countries that went into Afghanistan with us to get bin Laden. We got out locally employed staff of the United States Embassy and their families.
I need a
totaling
Kit
roughly
Kat because I need a break.
500 people. We got thousands of Afghan translators and interpreters.
Oh, thousands. What about the
Others who
one
supported the
that
United
saved your
States
life?
as well.
There's an Afghan
Now we
interpreter
believe
saved
about
Biden's life.
100 to 200
He said,
Americans
"Please,
remain
whatever
in
you do, don't
Afghanistan,
leave me here."
with some
The
intention
interpreter said that.
to leave. Most of those who remain are dual citizens, longtime residents who had early decided to stay because of their family roots in Afghanistan. The bottom line, 90% of Americans in Afghanistan who wanted to leave were able to leave. And for those remaining Americans, there is no deadline. We remain committed to get them out if they want to come out. Secretary of State Blinken is leading the continued diplomatic efforts to ensure safe passage for any American, Afghan partner, or foreign national who wants to leave Afghanistan. In fact, just yesterday, the United Nations Security Council passed a resolution that sent a clear message about what the international community expects the Taliban to deliver.
Oh,
moving
jeez.
forward, notably, freedom of travel, freedom to leave.
Oh yeah, it'll be an open border. Be an open border, just like the
Joined by over
U.S.
100 countries that are determined to make sure the Taliban upholds those commitments. It will include ongoing efforts in Afghanistan to reopen the airport, as well as
Sure.
overland routes, allowing for continued departure to those who want to leave and deliver humanitarian assistance to the people of Afghanistan. The Taliban has made public commitments
The Taliban.
broadcast on television and radio across Afghanistan on safe passage for anyone wanting to leave, including those who worked alongside Americans.
Oh my
We don't take
gosh.
them by their word alone, but by their actions.
Oh yeah, so we all saw those actions.
Commitments are met.
What about the
Let me be
dogs?
clear. Leaving August the 31st is not due to an arbitrary deadline.
No, your deadline was
It
September
was
11th.
designed to save American lives. My predecessor, the former
Oh
president,
jeez.
signed an agreement with the Taliban
Oh my
to remove
gosh.
U.S. troops by May the 1st, just months after I was inaugurated. It included no requirement that Taliban work out a cooperative government arrangement with the Afghan government, but it did authorize the release of 5,000 prisoners last year.
Oh my
By
gosh.
some of the Taliban's top war commanders, among those who just took control of Afghanistan. By the time I came to office,
Oh my gosh. You're going to
Taliban was
blame
in the
Trump?
strongest military position since 2001.
You're going to blame, it's Trump's fault.
Controlling or contesting nearly half of the country.
After you just said how great it was,
Previous administration's agreement said
now you're attacking Trump.
that if
It did great. You could have
struck
stopped
the May
it.
1st deadline that they had signed on to leave by, the Taliban wouldn't attack any American forces. But if we stayed, all bets were off. So we were left with a simple decision. Either follow through on the commitment made by the last administration and leave Afghanistan, or
So
say we weren't leaving.
you're contradicting
another
yourself.
Tens of thousands
You're
more
contradicting
troops
yourself.
going back to war. That was the choice, the real choice.
Going back to war with who? They had, you
Leaving
armed them.
or
You
escalating.
armed them. You had all this
I
extra
was not
time
going to
and you couldn't
extend
get
this
your
forever
arms
war.
out?
And I was not extending a forever exit.
What you
The decision
did,
to end the
extend
military
it.
airlift operations at Kabul airport was based on the unanimous recommendation of my civilian and military advisors,
Yeah, so was the
Secretary
release
of
of those
State.
prisoners.
the Secretary of Defense, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and all the service chiefs and the commanders in the field. Their recommendation was that the safest way to secure the passage of the remaining Americans and others out of the country was not to continue with 6,000 troops on the ground in harm's way in Kabul, but rather to get them out through non-military means. In the 17 days that we operated in Kabul, after the Taliban seized power, we engaged in an around-the-clock effort to provide every American the opportunity to leave.
What about the
The
dogs?
State Department was working 24/7,
There's 13 Marines and Navy men that didn't get to leave.
and in some cases walking Americans into the airport. Again, more than 5,500 Americans were airlifted out. And for those who remain, we will make arrangements to get them out if they so choose. As for the Afghans, we and our partners have airlifted 100,000 of them. No country in history has done more to airlift out the residents of another country than we have done. We will continue to work to help more people leave the country who are at risk.
Gee.
We're far from done. For now, I urge all Americans to join me in grateful prayer for our troops and diplomats and intelligence officers who carried out this mission of mercy in Kabul and at tremendous risk with such unparalleled results. And
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. There's no reason to attack Donald Trump. That was petty and low.
Who helped identify those needing evacuation, guide them to the airport, and provided
This
them
is
with
so
support along the way. We're going to continue to need their help. We need your help, and I'm looking forward to meeting with you. And to everyone who is now offering
you didn't do anything.
to welcome Afghan
This whole
allies
thing was
to
to
their
attack
homes around
Trump.
the world, including in
This
America.
whole thing is to attack Trump.
Thank you. I take responsibility for the decision.
Oh yeah? The buck stops there
We
again.
started mass evacuation sooner. And couldn't this have
You
been
just said
done-
you couldn't.
been done in a more orderly manner? I respectfully disagree. Imagine
You just said you
begun
couldn't.
evacuations in June or July. bringing
You
in
said all
thousands
this.
of American troops,
You just said all this.
evacuating more than 120,000 people in the middle of a civil war.
You said all this. They're not in the middle of a civil
There still
war.
would have been a rush to the airport.
You just said all this.
Breakdown in confidence and control of the government.
He's
It still
repeating
would have been
himself.
A very difficult and dangerous mission. The bottom line is there is no evacuation from the end of a war that you can run without the kinds of complexities, challenges, and threats we faced. None.
Evacuation, is that the new term
Those
for
who say we should have
surrender?
stayed indefinitely for years on end. They ask, why don't we just keep doing what we were doing? Why do we have to change anything? The fact is, everything had changed.
Oh,
My
really?
predecessor had made a
What
deal.
changed in the 4 years since you and Obama were in
When I came into
power?
office, we faced a deadline, May 1.
Yeah, you didn't have one. You
Taliban
said you're going
onset
to
was
get out of
imminent.
Afghanistan.
We faced one of two choices.
He's repeating himself, by the way.
Follow the agreement of the previous administration.
Yeah, you said all this.
And extend it to have.
Am I hitting repeat?
Have more time for people to get out.
Did I hit repeat?
Or send
Seriously.
thousands of more troops and escalate the war.
He said all this.
To those asking for a third decade of war in Afghanistan, I ask, what is the vital national interest? In my view, we only have one.
He's repeating
Make
himself.
sure Afghanistan can never be used again to launch an attack on our homeland. Remember why we went to Afghanistan in the first place?
For oil?
Because we were attacked by Osama bin Laden and Al Qaeda on September 11th, 2000.
And now Osama bin Laden's the president of Afghanistan, right?
And they were based in Afghanistan. We delivered justice to bin Laden on May 2nd, 2011, over a decade ago. Al Qaeda was decimated. I respectfully suggest you ask yourself this question. If we'd been attacked on September 11, 2001, from Yemen instead of Afghanistan, would we have ever gone to war in Afghanistan? Even though the Taliban controlled Afghanistan in the year 2001? I believe the honest answer is no.
This is such a crowd.
Because we had no vital interest in Afghanistan other than to prevent an attack on America's homeland. And that's true today. We succeeded in what we set out to do in Afghanistan over a decade ago. Then we stayed for another decade. It was time to end this war. This is a new world. The terror threat has metastasized across the world, well beyond Afghanistan. We face threats from al-Shabaab in Somalia, al-Qaeda affiliates in Syria and the Arabian Peninsula, and ISIS attempting to create a caliphate in Syria and Iraq and establishing affiliates across Africa and Asia. The fundamental obligation of a president, in my opinion, is to defend and protect America. Not against threats of 2001, but against the threats of 2021 and tomorrow. That is the guiding principle behind my decisions about Afghanistan. I simply do not believe that the safety and security of America is enhanced by continuing to deploy thousands of American troops and spending billions of dollars a year in Afghanistan. But I also know that the threat from terrorism continues in its pernicious and evil nature. But it's changed, expanded to other countries. Our strategy has to change too. We will maintain the fight against terrorism in Afghanistan and other countries. We just don't need to fight a ground war to do it. We have what's called over-the-horizon capabilities, which means we can strike terrorists and targets without American boots on the ground, or very few if needed. We've shown that capacity just in the last week. We struck ISIS-K remotely, days after they murdered 13 of our service members and dozens of innocent Afghans. And to ISIS-K, we are not done with you yet. As Commander-in-Chief, I firmly believe the best path to guard our safety and our security.
Special K, ISIS K, whatever. He's already setting up the next war.
Precise strategy that goes after terror where it is today, not where it was 2 decades ago. That's what's
starting the next war.
And here's a critical thing to understand. The world is changing. We're engaged in a serious competition with China. We're dealing with the challenges on multiple fronts with Russia. We're confronted with cyber attacks and nuclear proliferation. We have to shore up America's competitive to meet these new challenges in the competition for the 21st century. We can do both. Fight terrorism and take on new threats that are here now and will continue to be here in the future. And there's nothing China or Russia would rather have, would want more in this competition in the United States to be bogged down another decade in Afghanistan.
Golly.
As we turn the page on the foreign policy that has guided our nation the last 2 decades, we've got to learn from our mistakes. To me, there are 2 that are paramount. First, we must set missions with clear, achievable goals, not ones we'll never reach. And second, we must stay clearly focused on the fundamental national security interest of the United States of America. This decision about Afghanistan is not just about Afghanistan. It's about ending an era of major military operations to remake other countries. We saw a mission.
What he's doing right now is he's creating his own doctrine. He's creating the Biden doctrine. So he's saying there's no more Bush doctrine, which is a preemptive strike.
Trying to create a democratic, cohesive, and united Afghanistan, something that has never been done over many centuries of Afghan system.
I love how they focus on democratic. And all that is a attack back to that January 6th BS.
Those kind of large-scale troop deployments will make us stronger and more effective and safer at home. And for anyone who gets the wrong idea, let me say clearly, to those who wish America harm, to those who engage in terrorism against us or our allies, know this: the United States will never rest. We will not forgive. We will not forget. We will hunt you down to the ends of the earth, and you will pay the ultimate price.
I think that was a Trump speech right there.
We'll continue to support the Afghan people through diplomacy, international influence, and humanitarian aid. We'll continue to push for regional diplomacy engagement to prevent violence and instability. We'll continue to speak out for the basic rights of the Afghan people, especially women and girls, as we speak out for women and girls all around the globe. And I've been clear that human rights will be the center of our foreign policy. But the way to do that is not through endless military deployments, but through diplomacy, economic tools, and rallying the rest of the world for support. Fellow Americans, the war in Afghanistan is now over. I'm the 4th president who has faced the issue of whether and when to end this war. When I was running for president,
I don't think Bush had
I
that.
made a commitment to the American people that I would end this war.
Or did you?
Today, I've honored that commitment.
Oh, he ended the war.
It was time.
What did the
we
previous
honored the
administration do
American
again,
people.
Joe? What was that you said?
We no longer had a clear purpose in an open-ended mission in Afghanistan. After 20 years of war in Afghanistan, I refused
You're
to
there for
send
8 of
another
them.
generation of America's sons and daughters to fight a
You
war
watched them die.
that should have ended long ago. After more than $2 trillion spent in Afghanistan,
Like you care about
costs of
money.
researchers at Brown University estimated would be over $300 million a day for 20 years in Afghanistan, for 2 decades. Yes,
Oh gosh.
American people should hear this. $300 million a day for 2 decades.
Wait.
You take the number of 1 trillion, as many say, that's still $150 million a day for 2 decades.
Wait a second here. Wait a
What have
second.
we lost? in
What's
this
the
country in
US
terms of opportunities? I refuse
budget?
to continue a war that was no longer in the service of the vital national interest of our people. And most of all, after 100,000 Americans serving in Afghanistan. I've traveled that whole country. Brave and honorable service. After 20,744 American servicemen and women injured, and the loss of 2,000.
The U.S. military budget was $731 billion in 2019.
Lives lost just this week. I refuse to open another decade of warfare in Afghanistan. We've been a nation too long at war. If you're 20 years old today, you've never known an America at peace. So when I hear that we could have, should have continued the so-called low-grade effort in Afghanistan,
Wow.
low risk to our service members, at low cost, I don't think enough people understand how much we have asked of the 1% of this country who put that uniform on, willing to put their lives on the line in defense of our nation.
So that's not even right, dude.
To see son Bo served in Iraq for a full year. Before that, well, maybe it's because of what I've seen over the years as senator, vice president, and president traveling these countries. A lot of our veterans and their families have gone through hell. Deployment after deployment. Months and years away from their families. Missed birthdays.
Yeah.
Anniversaries. Empty chairs at holidays. Financial struggles. Divorces. Loss of limbs. Traumatic brain injury. Post-traumatic stress. We see it in the struggles many have when they come home. We see it in the strain on their families and caregivers. We see it in the strain of their families when they're not there. We see it in the grief borne by their survivors. The cost of war they will carry with them their whole lives. Most tragically,
Yeah, that's. I can get that to show up right.
Stunning statistic. This should give pause to anyone who thinks war can ever be low grade, low risk, or low cost. 18 veterans on average who die by suicide every single day in America. Not in a far-off place, but right here in America. There's nothing low grade or low risk or low cost about any war. It's time to end the war in Afghanistan. As we close 20 years of war and strife and pain and sacrifice, it's time to look to the future, not the past. To a future that's safer, to a future that's more secure, to a future that honors those who served and all those who gave what President Lincoln called their last full measure of devotion. I give you my word with all of my heart. I believe this is the right decision.
Well, you didn't have the choices already made.
And the best decision for America. Thank you. Thank you, and may God bless you all.
Oh, yeah.
And may God protect our troops.
Yeah, may God protect our troops because you aren't. And may God protect our dogs, too. I'm mad. I'm sorry. I may not be the best. Well, that was fun. All right, we're gonna go find what's her name? Well, I don't know. I just don't know. Anyway, I hope you had a good time with that one. I'm gonna go try to find Jen Pasakalaki. And other than that, God bless, Godspeed. Please give us a subscription. We're gonna fight back. We are fighting back against everybody, all these people, all these jokers, all these clowns. The clown brigade is over. It's time to come out with the seltzer bottles and wash their makeup off. It's us, guys, one person at a time. Uh, you know, if you one person joins me, then there's two of us. And we're just gonna then there'll be three of us, and there's four of us, and we're just gonna ride this baby out. So let's join, give me a thumbs up. And again, man, I love you guys. May the force be with you. Godspeed. Be good to somebody. And peace out.